You're a hand lettering beginner sitting down at your desk to letter with your brush pens and paper. You start lettering, but you're struggling to keep your lines straight, and you think, I wish there was a tool to help me with that. Well, it turns out there is a tool for that, and a lot of other tools that can help you in your lettering that you may not have thought of. Let me show you 10 lettering supplies besides brush pens that you need to know about as a beginner. If you're new here, I'm Sarah from Ensign Insights, and I often teach that you can letter with exactly what you have, even if that's only a pencil and paper. But if there's something you've been struggling with, there may be a tool that can help you. Let's get into it. Number 1, a laser level. This is awesome because you turn it on and you have a straight line to follow your lettering with. This has helped my lettering so much. I used to draw lines to get straight lines that I would have to erase after, and that took forever. I know a lot of people use laser levels when lettering on envelopes for weddings. You could also use it for much larger lettering, like a big sign. The laser level I have is Black & Decker, not even related to calligraphy at all. I love it. This is a must-have for anyone who wants to get straight lines in their lettering. Number 2, a light pad. When I first started lettering, I realized that it would be so helpful if I could just trace what I was doing instead of sketching it on a brand new piece of paper every time. I didn't know that light pads were a thing, so I used my laptop turned on its side. That was a little clunky with my laptop, but it worked. Then I learned about a light pad and I found so many cheap ones on Amazon. I'm really glad to have this because it really comes in handy to take a sketch to the final piece without needing to erase or anything. I've also used my iPad to trace, and that's especially helpful when I letter something on my iPad in the Procreate app, and then I can trace it on my paper. I would definitely say a light pad is worth having. Number 3, clear storage for pens. Let me show you 3 types of clear storage that I use. So many times my pens used to just sit in containers and I didn't know what was in them. It makes it harder to use them when I can't see them. I've gone through several desk declutters in the past few months to really try to figure out a system that works for me. The one thing that I'm so happy about are my clear containers. I wanted to store my pens in neat little bags, but they had to be clear. So I searched and searched for something that would work. I found a few different sizes to meet my needs. As you can see, I haven't seen anyone else do this, but it works for me. If this looks like that would help you, I will link the ones that I have below so you don't have to do the hours of research like I did. I also have these clear drawers on top of my desk for the pens I use most often, and it's perfect. I love it. I love that I can see what pens are in there, and I can take the drawer out when I'm using certain pens. I got this from Marshall's, but I did find one that is sort of similar on Amazon, so I will share that link. And the last clear storage that I use is this container that can hold multiple pens. I currently have some fine liners in here so they can be stored all together. This is a lot bigger than my perfect sized bags, so it's not the best for travel. But with how many pens I have, I need a variety of options, and this is what works for me. I would say no matter what kind of storage you use, having something clear is a must. Number 4, a paper cutter or paper trimmer. I can't tell you how often I use this, so it lives right next to my desk. I got a paper trimmer really early on, and I'm so glad I did. You can use it to cut larger paper into the size you want, or trim down a piece that you've already made. Using a paper cutter means you don't have to draw your line and then try to cut straight lines with scissors. Although I will say it's also helpful to always have scissors on hand. You never know when you're going to need to use them, and that's a lot for me. As for a paper cutter, I rarely do large pieces that fill an entire 9 by 12 inch page. So I normally cut it into 4 smaller pieces, and that would be really hard to do with scissors. I got my paper cutter at Hobby Lobby, and it was really cheap, totally worth it. There are some on Amazon for a really good price too, if that's something that you think will help you. Number 5 is a ruler, any regular ruler. My ruler lives right next to my paper cutter by my desk. Since I have a laser level, I don't have to use it to draw straight guides, but there are times when I'm doing a block or print style and I want the height of my letters to be exactly the same, so I need 2 lines. That's when I would draw a line to use with my laser level. And sometimes I want to measure the exact center of the paper or measure how big I want my margins to be, or I want each line of lettering to be a certain distance from each other. And having a ruler is super helpful for this. Number 6, a HELIX circle maker. I know this one is really random, but it is really helpful. I used to search my cupboards for just the right size of cup to use to trace a circle the size I needed. The cup method totally works, but doesn't always give you exactly the circle that you need. This circle maker has all different sizes, so it's perfect. Have you seen one of these? I like to use it to make rainbows because I can get the different sizes I need with the same curve. Here I'm using the fine point of my zebra mild liner brush pens to get the different colors of the rainbow. And then I'm adding a word below, and I have a cute little lettered piece that was so quick. It's those quick little wins that we need these days, right? So this HELIX circle maker, this one is maybe not your first priority to have, but it's definitely a bonus. Number 7 is a kneaded eraser. I used to think I was good with just a regular eraser, and that is fine for normal erasing, but when you have sketched out your lettering piece with a pencil and then you go over it with brush pens, but your pencil shows through, and you try to erase, but the pencil won't erase under the ink. Yeah, that's why you want a kneaded eraser. Because it's soft, you can just touch the paper or rub it gently, and it will erase most of the pencil, leaving just enough to still be able to see. I wasn't ever able to do that well enough with a regular eraser, though you can try. It's also more gentle, so it won't tear the paper like other erasers. If you are pencil sketching directly on your final piece, a kneaded eraser is a must. Before we get into the next one, I'd love to hear what supplies you use in your lettering besides brush pens and paper. And after hearing my 10, would you add anything or did I cover all of them? If there's something you love that I haven't thought of, leave it in the comments since it might help someone else. Number 8 is washi tape. Do you use washi tape? This one is one of the supplies that made it into my book, Handlettering for Beginners, because I think it's really helpful, and I use washi tape a lot to do the projects in the book. I don't think you actually need a reason to get washi tape. The fact that it's so cute is enough, right? I like to tape down the paper with washi tape to get the really crisp edge, and I usually don't have a problem with tearing the paper when I take it off. Also great to leave certain areas white, like if you're going to add some lettering. I also love using the skinny washi tape to do mosaic designs or stripes. I got a huge pack of skinny washi tape on Amazon and it's the best. You just have to be careful with washi tape because once you buy one, you're gonna love it so much and you're gonna wanna buy all the washi tape. Number 9 is palettes. This one also made it in my book because it's super helpful. I use it all the time. When you're blending or doing watercolor backgrounds, you'll definitely want to have a palette. You can do several blending techniques with a palette, including the swipey blend, where you lay down some ink and then swipe another color through it to get a nice blend. You can also lay down your ink and use it like it's watercolor. I do it all the time. If you don't have a palette, you could also use a little dish or even a plastic bag, but you'll definitely want some kind of smooth surface to be able to use your brush pens for blending or backgrounds. And number 10 is a water brush. Why not a paintbrush? Let me tell you, to get nice blends and backgrounds, you'll want some kind of a brush. You can use a paintbrush, but you will risk having too much water on your paintbrush to blend. It just takes some practice to figure that out. A water brush has the water right in the barrel, and I found that it can keep the bristles just wet enough, but not too wet. I know different brands might work differently, but I really love my Pentel Aquash and my Kuretake water brushes. I love the fine size for watercolor lettering. If you want to try watercolor lettering, a water brush can help with the transition because the bristles are a little more firm and easier to control than a regular paintbrush. As you can see, this piece that I did, I used several of the supplies here in this video. Partly it was to show you how it can work, but also those are just the supplies that I use like all the time. I hope this helps so you don't have to struggle and do the research like I did to solve certain problems. If you want to find what brush pens might be a good fit, here's a playlist that I think will really help you. I'll see you there.